spring would be the fourth spring.
What's this?
So they're growing well, aren't they?
This is a Bramley,
What is the root stock?
but I've done nothing with it. What's the
Okay.
root? Actually, Steve, these were the ones that you got.
Yeah, there was a Bramley, and that one over there's an L-star.
No, that
Th-
one's
th-
Victoria
Oh, is
Plus.
it?
Is this the Bramley?
That's a Bramley, yes.
Bramley always grows stronger than most others because it is triploid. Triploid means it has an extra set of chromosomes. Extra chromosomes gives you bigger sexual parts. She knows.
I've only got one.
Gives you bigger buds, bigger flowers, bigger fruit. A lot of commercial varieties now in the shops. Even the eating apples, obviously the cookers, tend to be triploid. Triploid apples produce useless pollen. They're sterile in effect. So if you're planting an apple here, if you planted a pair to pollinate each other, this apple could pollinate the Bramley, but not vice versa. So if you're going to have a Bramley, you have to have two other apples with it. Those two can pollinate that, and then they pollinate each other.
Actually, think about it, that might be... No, sorry, I got this wrong. That's a cox. That's a Bramley, that's a Bramley.
Well, normally the Bramley is the stronger growing, and the cox is extremely weak growing. Assuming they're all on the same root stock.
These two are... No. That one was a Morrison's one. As you were saying,
Morrison's root
Kate makes make a good clown.
Yeah.
This was the this is the Bramley, but this was a treat one from somewhere. I can't remember where. And this was the Bramley that you got, Steve. I'm thinking
Was
about
it?
And that's the L-Star.
Oh, right.
And then that's the Victoria Plum over there. And then we've got a couple of pairs.
All right. Well, all fruit trees are grafted. They're grafted onto someone else's roots. You can see here where there's the basic incompatibility between the root, the bit which is the bit down in the dirt, and the top bit, the variety. You can see where it's swollen. That's where the graft is, where the two bits are joined together. If you planted this piece of stick, except it's dead with canker, if you planted that piece of stick in the ground and it grew, or you planted a pit in the ground, it would grow to 35 foot high. That's the size of a crabapple tree. There's something like that, isn't it? A big crabapple tree could be that big as that alder tree there. Bit of a bastard at our age when you come in to pick them. So that you graft them onto a series of roots which make them smaller. If you wanted an annually retentive tree on a little patio in a pot and a tree this big, you would graft it onto a rootstock called M27. Give you a little tree like that. If you were down in Devon and you wanted your moo cows underneath it, and you wanted a tree 25 foot high with a big long trunk with your moo cows underneath, you would graft it onto a rootstock called M25. They've all got stupid numbers. The rootstock determines how big the tree will be, which determines how far apart you plant them. That's why ask the girl in Morrison's, what rootstock is it on? Because you've no idea how big your tree will be. This one tree, if it's on M25, would cover this whole area and dwarf all these other beauties that you bought. Conversely, if it's on the most likely one with these cheap trees is at M9. M9 trees are this big. They're what your Bulgarian pickers can pick on the ground. That's what commercial growers grow on an M9 rootstock. They're the ones you get cheap in Morrison's. That's fine. That's a nice size tree.
It's a good size, yeah. But here
If-
it's not the right price.
Exactly.
You
We
need to
ain't
have
in
something
Kent,
strong.
are we? We're not in Kent with rows, it's the best soil in the country, with rows of weed-free land that's been herbicided. This is halfway up a mountain, poor soil, it's in competition with all this green stuff here called grass. It can't compete, it will likely get stuck. And this is looking a bit stuck, isn't it? There's no extension growth, yeah? So this could be on an M9. Nobody knows. That's the trouble. That's why you have to go. You should go rather than being a bunch of cheapskates.
Do something like yourself.
You should. Well, there you go. They put words into my mouth. You should see someone like me, or at least someone else that knows their stuff. Unfortunately, you go to garden centres, even garden. I'm talking to garden centres, not even people in the market or Morrison's, and they don't know either. As a rule, they don't. The arguments I have with garden centre, if you like buy half a dozen from a garden centre, they'll go, there we are madam, whack, whack, whack. 30 quid each is 180 quid. They'll give you anything. You know, these are my trees. It's clearly written on the label how big the trees will be, and the garden centres don't know, let alone Asda.
The rule of thumb round here.
Pardon?
What is
So round here, because it's high up, it's windy, it's probably wet. You want a robust rootstock, and I would use an MM106 rootstock, which in Kent would give you a 16-foot high spread and tree. Your conditions here will dwarf it, will make it smaller, because the grass is taking away the nitrogen, making it smaller. The erosion has took away all the nutrients out of the soil. The glaciers going down this valley have took all the topsoil away. It's not Kent. Also, you're not going to be there chucking loads of fertiliser on, are you? Or herbicide.
We don't here.
Well, you want to start. You got to make, if you're going to go organic, you've got to study your books. It's much easier to be non-organic and chuck all the chemicals all over the tree, all over you, all over your lovely little children.
I do that.
What do I care? So that's the trouble. If you don't know what you're getting, I mean, I'm the world's worst. Like I said, my first trees, I didn't buy them from Woolworths. I stole them from round the back out the skips, and it took me 10 years to realise almost all what I got were a waste of time.
Yeah.
There you go. Look what happened to Woolworths. I'm still here.
What about if you've got an old orchard that's not really doing very much, or a few old trees not really doing very much?
What are we going to do? Rejuvenation? Are we going
Yeah, we
there
are
today?
going to an older orchard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is it worth trying to rejuvenate or just take out?
Yeah.
Start
Well,
again?
there's obviously if it's a really bad tree, get rid of it. If it's a tree with really bad fruit but good wood, you can regraft the tree. If it doesn't have canker, you could regraft it into something better, maybe several things better, 4 or 5 branches. I'm doing a talk for the Snowdonia National Parks and the Centre for Alternative Land Use. It's free. It will be at Plastanaburg early in the new year. And that's about restorative pruning of old, neglected trees.
So what are we going to do about young trees then?
Okay, let's